Today we are going to see the recaps of the very interesting movie of the X-Men series, Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is the 12th and final installment in the X-Men film series, directed by Simon Kinberg. The movie follows the story of Jean Grey, who discovers the full extent of her powers as she struggles with the darker side of her abilities. The film is loosely inspired by the Dark Phoenix saga from Marvel Comics, which explores Jean's transformation into the Phoenix, a powerful cosmic entity. Set in the 1990s, it focuses on Jean's emotional journey, the dangers of her powers, and the consequences of losing control. The film opens with a flashback to 1975, when Jean was just a child. Jean's family is involved in a car accident, and her parents die in front of her eyes. As a young girl, Jean inadvertently unleashes her powers, causing the car to crash. She ends up in a mental hospital, where she's later adopted by Professor Charles Xavier James McAvoy. Xavier recognizes her potential and takes her in, raising her at Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. Now, in 1992, Jean, played by Sophie Turner, is a prominent member of the X-Men, working alongside Cyclops, Scott Summers, Storm, Aurora Munro, Beast, Henry McCoy, and Nightcrawler Kurt Wagner. The team is on a mission to save the crew of a damaged spaceship that is caught in a storm in space. The X-Men team receives a distress signal from a NASA space shuttle that has gone off course due to a mysterious cosmic force. They launch a rescue mission in space, and Jean Grey is tasked with protecting the crew. During the mission, Jean absorbs an enormous amount of cosmic energy when the shuttle's fuel ignites, causing an explosion. Jean is engulfed by the Phoenix Force, a powerful and ancient cosmic entity. Although she survives the event, the energy she absorbed is far more than she can control, and it begins to affect her in dangerous ways. After Jean's near-death experience, the X-Men manage to save her and bring her back to Earth. However, she is noticeably different, more powerful but also more volatile and unpredictable. The team, especially Cyclops, is concerned about her sudden shift in behavior. As Jean begins to come to terms with what happened, she realizes that the Phoenix Force is inside her, giving her immense power. However, she also begins to lose control. She's haunted by visions of her childhood and the trauma surrounding the death of her parents. This psychological instability makes her a dangerous threat to those around her. At the same time, Professor Xavier and the X-Men are struggling to manage Jean's newfound power. Xavier, who has always believed in Jean's potential, is reluctant to acknowledge the destructive side of her abilities. His attempts to suppress Jean's memories using his telepathic powers may have contributed to her instability. Jean feels betrayed when she learns the truth about her past. Xavier had erased her memories of the car accident and her family to protect her from the pain. Jean's powers begin to spiral out of control, and she becomes increasingly aggressive. After a confrontation with the X-Men, she isolates herself from the team, deciding that she no longer wants to be a part of the group. Meanwhile, Book, a mysterious alien leader, emerges. Book is part of a race of alien beings known as the Dabari, who have been searching for the Phoenix Force for centuries. Book explains that the Phoenix Force is a powerful entity capable of destroying entire worlds. The Dabari seek to harness its power for their own purposes. Book manipulates Jean, convincing her that the Phoenix Force is meant to be used to create a new, better world, but Jean's transformation into the Dark Phoenix causes her to increasingly lose control. The Phoenix's overwhelming power is too much for her to manage, leading to destructive outbursts. The X-Men soon realize that the only way to stop Jean is to separate her from the Phoenix Force. However, they know that doing so could kill her. The tension between saving Jean and stopping her from causing further destruction grows. Jean, now fully embracing the Dark Phoenix persona, begins to attack the X-Men, including Magneto, who has his own personal vendetta against Xavier. Magneto, who had previously formed his own team of mutants, is called into the conflict when the X-Men realize that they need his help to stop Jean. Magneto, seeing Jean's full potential, decides to aid the X-Men, but only under the condition that they destroy the Phoenix Force before it consumes Jean entirely. The climactic battle takes place in New York City, where Jean, fully consumed by the Dark Phoenix, faces off against the X-Men and the Dabari aliens. The X-Men attempt to subdue Jean, but her power is so immense that they are no match for her. Meanwhile, Book attempts to convince Jean to join her and use the Phoenix Force to destroy the Earth and create a new world for the Dabari. However, Jean has an epiphany. She realizes that she is not the Phoenix and that her true self is still present beneath the overwhelming power. With the help of Professor Xavier and Cyclops, Jean decides to sacrifice herself to stop the Phoenix Force from destroying everything. In a heartbreaking moment, Jean uses her power to create a massive energy explosion that obliterates the Dabari aliens and eliminates the Phoenix Force from her body, sacrificing her own life in the process. In the aftermath of Jean's sacrifice, the X-Men mourn her loss, recognizing that Jean Grey, the person they loved, has finally found peace. Xavier is deeply affected by her death, as he knows he played a part in her transformation. The film ends with the X-Men standing together, having learned the true cost of power and responsibility. They also acknowledge that they must protect the world from threats like the Phoenix, understanding that even the most powerful among them are vulnerable. The final scene shows the X-Men coming together to honor Jean's memory, reflecting on the impact she had on their lives. The team is now fully united in their mission to protect the world from future dangers, but they will never forget the lesson Jean taught them about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of self-control. Dark Phoenix explores the emotional and psychological transformation of Jean Grey, focusing on her struggle to control the immense power of the Phoenix Force and the consequences of losing that control. The film delves deep into the themes of self-discovery, sacrifice, and the cost of power, wrapping up the storyline of one of the most beloved characters in the X-Men universe. Jean's journey from hero to villain and, ultimately, to a tragic martyr is both powerful and heartbreaking, leaving a lasting impact on her fellow X-Men and the audience.